make sure that they know how the virus spreads, and they're going to be aware of that after the first day, believe me, because we're going to tell them constantly, wash your hands, clean your hands, don't touch this, come over here, be sure you do that. We're going to be following them around and making sure. So a few of them might have some questions after that first day, like, what is going on? This is not camp like I know it. And if their parents haven't told them it's going to be different, they're going to be surprised, and some of them might be worried. If you play sports, you're going to play with your household group, not with another cabin, but still you're going to be sharing equipment. So if you're playing a sports game, even with your cabin, wash your hands when you get through, because everybody's touched the ball, or everybody's touched the net, or everybody's touched whatever it is you're doing, the frisbee, whatever.
Every year around the time, you know, now I contemplate whether I can come back or not, and it always makes me really sad if I think that I can't come back, like really, really sad. Because I don't know, like, I don't even know, like we come out here, we work so hard, and then I guess it's really just like wanting to recreate all the good memories as a kid for the kids that we have, you know. I think it's cool seeing like people who used to come here come back, because you know, I'd love to think that someday my job will let me be here. You know, that'd be cool. It's really cool. One time, me and JW and some other kid. It was when we were in Discovery, and we had Michael back when he was thinner, and we had somebody else. I think we had Michael Self too, or something like that. Or maybe we just had Michael. Maybe we had Michael and Aaron. I don't know. But that night it was just Michael, because I guess the other one was off, and me and JW were getting into it. Like we were, like I didn't really fight with JW a lot up here, but like I don't know, this time we were just really getting like arguing and getting mad at each other, and Michael had enough of it. You know, Michael, he's not very patient, and we came out here and we built a fire. Like we got everything, we built the fire. He made us build a fire, and he sat here and he asked us questions like what, like our home life was like, you know, like growing up, like, you know, kind of like questions like this, like stories that we had. And you know, JW can kind of be a butthole, but I've always, like, ever since then, I've never really, like, you know, he's always been a friend of mine, you know. There's a lot of connections that you make in camp, you know, like you don't even, it's like a family kind of. And then he told us the scratch, scratch, thump, thump story, and I've never been so scared in my life as a sixth grader, I guess. I don't know. I guess I was in 6th grade, 5th grade. Whenever him and Michael Self, like, woke us up with the scratch, scratch, thump stuff at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
Make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and post ASMR videos.
This is day 16 of being held against my will. To whoever finds this video, send help. It was once upon a time. This was like 3-4 years ago. I stayed over the weekend, and we had Mr. Sam. And Mrs. Sam likes to do this thing with the people that stay over the weekend every year when he's here. Is he likes to like make adventures. So we did this thing. It's called, pretty sure Andon was in it, and it's called like, what was it called, Andon? That one weekend that we were over the weekend with Sam, and we like went out and played that game. It was like Slenderman.
Oh, yeah.
Long story short, it was not a good idea because one of the kids that stayed over the weekend was wearing a neon shirt. And then we decided to lay down on the ground, and Andon ran at us. And didn't someone like start to cry? There was like some adventure kid that started to cry. And then we went back to the DC, air conditioned. It's highly recommended, especially when it's like 92 degrees outside. But we went back to the DC, and me and Sam had to go grab my stuff from our cabin. I was in like Discovery at that time, so I had to go grab like clothes and stuff. And Andon, was it you or your brother that decided to jump out from behind the car and scare me? One of the twins, Andon or Raven, decided to jump out behind the car and scare me. And I had like a big flashlight in my hand, and I almost smacked him in the face with it. I was like that close. And then everyone just kind of laughed the whole night. We rat-tailed each other. We watched Sing. No, that was like 2 years ago then. We watched Sing, and then everyone just kind of like chilled and talked around, and then everyone went to sleep. The end.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What would you say is more fun, Discovery or Horizon?
It's a hard decision because it's my first year in Horizon, and I don't know. I would say Discovery just because Horizon, my first year in Horizon, is during COVID, so I've not gotten the full experience of Horizon. There is a plus though, is I got to bring my phone and snacks, so once again I go back to spending half my day watching TikTok. I know it's sad.
You don't have to talk into the microphone.
Yes, I do.
It wasn't last year, but it was like 3 years ago. I think it was me, Kevin, and Andon, I'm pretty sure. And what happened was I got really scared because I was at that point, I was still scared of the dark, okay? It was when Aaron was a counselor, and he's like, hey, let's go take some of the hammocks and go and camp out in the woods for a night. Yeah, I was not having it.
That's because Martin told scary stories.
Well, yeah, and then I was like realizing they're not real. And when we still had the campfire going in the middle of the night, so I kept seeing shadows when we had the hammocks over us, and I started freaking out. And I was like, Aaron, can we go back, please? And that was like the funniest moment because everybody was like really mad because we had to go back to the cabins.
Would you say this year's more fun or last year was more fun?
I had a lot of good moments last year.
I'd say definitely last year.
Yeah, definitely last year, but I don't know. This one has been pretty good so far.
But because we didn't have all this corona.
Yeah, COVID stuff. But it's actually been pretty good because I thought it was going to be like, I don't know, not as fun,
Super strict.
Yeah, but I'm actually having a great time.
Mr. Blaine's actually a pretty cool counselor.
To be honest, even though still be burnt.
other cabin was pretty big. I prefer this one because it's not as long as a walk to get lunch.
Yeah.
I mean, how would you say the Corona stuff has made this year less fun than last year?
I don't know. You can't. I mean, you gotta stay 6 feet from people. Can't touch anything.
Able to do because you have
The schedule changed too.
schedule change.
Interact with other cabins.
Yeah.
Girl, I've been coming to camp since I was in the womb, let me tell you. I really don't know how long I've been coming to camp. I just grew up here. Some say 16 years, but I guess the world will never know.
Do you ever feel embarrassed to be like, quote unquote, a staff kid?
Sometimes, I guess, because we'll sing in, like for breakfast, like the staff will like sing a song before we come in, and like I don't really get to do that, and it's kind of embarrassing wearing a staff shirt, but you're being sung in by the staff. Does that make sense? Like walking in with the campers. There's sometimes, I'm not gonna say all the time, but there's sometimes where I'm just like, oh, I gotta go, let me go ask my mom, and they're like, okay, you go ask your mom because she's director or whatever. So, I mean, you just kind of have to live with it. I can't really do anything. It's the same at school. My mom's in charge of like everything I'm involved in, so.
Tell me your favorite camp story.
Oh! Okay, so there was one morning, it was my first year in Horizon. We were at Marshall Lodge, okay? It was after breakfast, we were tired, and we had to go and clean. So it was my job to clean off all the mats that were next to the beds. So I walk out the door. I go to the ledge. I'm shaking, all of a sudden I hear, and I was like, oh no, here it comes. I knew it was happening. Split second.
Let me take your temperature real quick. I'm gonna interrupt your story. 97.3.
Okay, thank you, Nurse Hope.
You're welcome.
So I walk outside, hear the like the little creaky thing, and I'm like, here we go. And next thing I know, I'm on the ground. Here's what happened. A couple of people the week before had sat on the ledge and kind of like broke it. So of course I was the one to break the ledge. So I fall off the ledge, railing, I was hit to the ground, and I'm like, oh, I'm fine, whatever. It like wasn't that bad. It didn't really hurt until I noticed that my shirt was all ripped up. My friend Andy over here. Yes, thank you. Okay, next thing I know, Andy, my friend Andy over here, lifts up my shirt and she's like, Molly, you have a hole in your stomach. And I'm like, a hole in my stomach? And I look down and I'm like, oh yeah, I do. So I go to the nurse, clean it out. I didn't start crying until my mom showed up. Like it didn't even hurt because it just kind of happened. I didn't want to get stitches or anything. So the whole entire day, oh, and like right here was scratched up. So the whole entire day, I'm standing like this, walking around. It was memories to make. It was so funny. I was laughing and we were freaking out, but it was just, you had to be there. And it was just a really exciting time in my camp career.
That's what happens when you lean on a railing.
So now I've learned my lesson, don't lean over railings. We have a new one too. I need to sign my name on it.
My favorites are the Tejas stories. We'd go to Lake Tejas.
I don't know what that is.
Lake Tejas is a canoe trip and a swimming trip to a lake where we canoe and we can.
You're allowed to cough.
Sorry.
You're allowed to cough, JJ.
we go to a lake and canoe and swim around, and there used to be a big slide, and they have a huge diving board over there. It's like 4 meters tall. It's pretty big. I went up there first, like really early in the day, like when we first got there, and we tried doing a flip, and I over rotated, landed right on my face and stomach. I was out for like 2 hours. It's pretty bad.
This is your favorite memory?
I mean, this is one I could think of.
How long have you been coming here?
7 years? This sounds right. 1 adventure, 2 discovery, 4 horizon. Yeah, 7 years. Whew. Feels like yesterday was like my first day at camp.
Do you remember your first day at camp?
Barely.
What was like super early years like?
I remember me and my brother, we came up and we were all surprised. It looked very like, it didn't really seem like a camp at first. It seemed very like run down. It looked a little run down. We were confused where to go. We found the lodge and signed in, and just ever since that day I just fell in love with this place.
I feel like with school there's way more anxiety because of tests and stuff that you have to study for and memorize. It's just way more stressful than camp is. Camp you can just relax and have fun.
I don't know, we're kind of like moving all day. It doesn't bug you?
Yeah, but I like that. I like all the classes that we do and stuff.
What is this thing between you and Mom?
Well,
is it gonna happen? Is it not gonna happen? Y'all just
no, it already happened is the
Really?
thing. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So we
Never gonna happen.
Wow.
Let me catch it.
Yeah, okay. We met one year and like we went to Teos together and we became friends by throwing rocks and pine cones at each other while we were in the water. And yeah. That's how we became friends. By throwing stuff at each other.
What's the difference between real life and camp?
Real life, you have like air conditioning and like you have way more technology. And at camp, you can only have like a fan, and if you're in Horizon, you can bring your phone. But it's not like you can be on your phone all day or TV all day like you are at home. And you actually have to do stuff like riflery and archery and swimming.
And you like making yourself do stuff?
Yeah.
I'm running toward you. I'm running toward you. I'm coming for your love. I'm running toward you. I'm running toward you. I'm coming for
Carson are not like brothers, but you're practically brothers.
Yeah, I live with Carson in Lumberton. Yeah, he says unfortunately. I hope he's joking.
What do you think is better for him to take it easy with his leg, or for him to push himself and like be a part of it?
A little bit of both, because sometimes he needs to take a break, but a lot of times he needs to push himself so he can start walking more. Like today when he's walking to the cabin, he needs to be able to walk to the cabin without the golf cart, but he also needs to take breaks in between so he doesn't overdo it. Because if he overdoes it, then he can't walk.
You say both for the sake. You say both for the sake of his health, not like because he needs to be part of the group.
Yeah. He can be part of the group and ride the golf cart at the same time.
Why do you care so much about
mental
Carson's
or
health?
physical health?
Because he's my cousin. I care about him.
I don't care about you.
Guys.
What's the difference between being at home and being here?
Might be a lot more work here, but most of the time it's quiet when I'm trying to go to sleep. Because my brother will be up on the Xbox at like 2 o'clock in the morning screaming at Fortnite, and it's not fun. And I'm trying to go to sleep.
So, you get more sleep here?
Yep.
Wow. Yeah, that's a big one.
Yep, it's a lot of brush. It's called
fish.
Yes, it's called moss.
Isaiah.
So,
what do you do for fun at home?
I'm usually just playing video games because I'm not invited to do anything. So it's kind of boring most of the time.
Why do you think you're not invited to do anything?
I don't know. I try talking to people, but they just seem to walk away from it or just ignore me. Like, there's been plenty of times where I've forgotten that I've even existed myself because people just kept talking over me, so it's like, okay.
Do you feel that way here?
Not really, no. Most of the time I'm listened to.
I'm Mr. Blaine. I had the distinct pleasure of having the Horizon Boys this week. I haven't been a counselor in a couple of years now. And so to come back and have literally not just the easiest cabin out of this entire camp, but the easiest cabin I've ever had in my whole life was almost boring. Almost. But these guys, they weren't just like well behaved and they weren't just like respectful. They knew what camp was about. They, you know, there's been some conditions this year. There's been some differences, some restrictions to what they're used to, and I can't remember any moment of serious complaint. I can't remember any moment where these guys were down in the dumps or upset because of what was going on. They took it in stride, and they took it with a good attitude, and they considered it to be part of camp, because that's what camp is. You don't come to camp to have fun. You come to camp to be better, to do life differently. So I made them these tokens. I made one for Isaiah. Ryland. Andon. Kevin. Carson. And Jace.